Hey guys, it's Ally, and in today's video, I want to talk a little bit more about Corinne, and if you are on the fence about buying Corinne, I want to talk about why you should and shouldn't get Corinne based on what type of collector you are and what you value in the dolls you purchase and things like that. If that sounds confusing, just watch the video, it will make sense. Currently, when I'm filming this, it is still January, everyone's still hyped and posting about Corinne, including myself, but as the year goes on, Corinne might not end up being as popular as she was back in January, and people might start to forget about her, especially if American Girl decides to release other dolls like the rumored 1920s historical doll. But if you have been saving your money and still have not caved and bought Corinne, this video might actually end up making you buy her, or maybe will not. We will see. Also, for reference, I do have Corinne. I've had her in my collection for 2 weeks now, which is crazy. She came on my first day of the new term of university, and she has been attending all of my Zoom classes with me on my desk for some of them next to my laptop. So even though I have not put her through the ringer or anything, as I don't really intensively play with my dolls, I have done a few hairstyles on her and gotten to know the doll and if she's worth it. And right before we get into the video, one more quick thing. If you watched my unboxing of Corinne that I posted a few weeks ago, I did not have a name for her, but I have decided on a name for my Corinne doll. So drum roll. Her name is going to be Karina Bing Tan. Obviously, I kept the last name Tan. Karina is somewhat similar to Corinne. A bunch of my friends suggested the name for her, and it's also the name of a K-pop idol who I have a giant poster of in my room, aespa. And then the middle name Bing, I asked my friend who is Chinese if she knows any cool Chinese names that mean snow or ice, just because it's related to Corinne's theme, and she told me Bing was an option. It does mean ice. Kai Bing from Girls Planet 999, if you know what that is at all. My channel has become way too niche for K-pop, but yeah, she's inspired by that. So now let's get started. I'm gonna start off with just some general pros and cons about Corinne, and then we're gonna dive into a bit more details based on what you value in the dolls that you add to your collection. So I think the biggest pro of Corinne is her new face mold. I would say, based on face molds that existed before Corinne, her mold is very similar to the Nenea mold, but there are a few slight differences because Corinne does have larger eyes than the standard American Girl doll. That means the mold is slightly different to be able to fit those eyes. And similar to her face mold, her brow style is also different than the typical lined eyebrows or the feathered eyebrows that American Girl does. So you can't really say that this doll looks like any other doll because she has a unique feature. Another big pro about Corinne is that she's really easy to take care of. Dolls with straight hair are for sure the easiest type to take care of, and especially if you get the doll earlier in the year, while her braids haven't been sitting in her hair as long. Her hair in the front will be straight even without needing to hot water boil or flat iron, because if you've ever gotten a doll that came in braids like Kaya, for example, her hair ends up being really crimped because her hair has been in braids for so long. So my big recommendation if you do end up getting Corinne is take out her braids if you got her early on in the year, so hopefully her hair will not be crinkly in the front, or just leave them in and know that if you want it all to look the same, you might have to flat iron or hot water dunk in the future. But yes, all you need to do to take care of Corinne's hair is just take a wire wig brush. It can be our generation American Girl. Just make sure that it is not the same one you use on your hair, and starting from the bottom, work your way up, getting out all of the knots before moving on from the top. If you brush all the way from the top to the bottom while there are still knots in your doll's hair, you will get split ends. All of my older dolls have split ends, and it is not a cute look. And if you are considering getting Corinne as your first doll, I do have a video about things you should know before getting your first American Girl doll. I strongly recommend it because it talks about how to take care of dolls and how to pick a good first doll for beginners, so that will be linked in the description. I think another huge pro about Corinne, especially for people who have a bigger collection and they're not just picking their first doll, where a doll can be anything and be unique because you only have one doll in your collection, is that Corinne is a doll of color, specifically a doll of color in the Girl of the Year line, which we don't get too often. She is Asian and she is from China, which is super cool. And yes, American Girl does have other face molds that are made to represent features of different regions of Asia, such as the Sonali mold or the Jess mold, but you can never have enough face molds for Asia. After all, it is the most populated continent. A person from Kazakhstan looks nothing nothing like a person from Jordan, and then a person from Jordan looks nothing like a person from Indonesia. A person from Indonesia looks nothing like a person from South Korea. You get the deal. Asia is so diverse, and American Girl can do better at creating more molds to represent different regions of Asia. I'm taking a class on Asian studies right now, and I had a quiz last week where I had to identify what country was part of what region of Asia. I found that super exciting as someone who loves geography, but yes, Asia is really diverse. And I've seen people talk about this on social media, but a lot of times when people are like, oh, I want an Asian American Girl doll, they specifically are talking about East Asia, so China, Japan, South Korea, and people forget that there are other countries in Asia and other regions that look nothing like an Eastern Asian person. So I do wish American Girl will make more molds in the future to accommodate all the different ethnicities present in the world, not just Asia. But yes, she is a doll of color, which is obviously a pro, especially to diversify your collection. Now on to the cons. So these cons are definitely subjective, as some people might disagree with me on these, but in the end, it's your doll. I don't want to dictate your collection and what doll you buy or shouldn't buy. So just because I dislike one thing about a doll doesn't mean that you have to dislike it and you can't add that doll to your collection. And even though I do have things I dislike about Corinne, I still added her to my collection. So you do you. The first con is her colored hair. Now, I am not the biggest fan of colored hair. I've said this so many times on my channel, but the reason I did decide to buy Corinne is because her colored hair isn't in your face. It doesn't start at the roots, and at least from the front, if you tuck her hair behind the shoulders, you can barely see the blue in Corinne's hair. From the back, even if her hair is down, it does show at the bottom. I do like the occasional pop of color here and there, but overall, it's a lot better than a doll like from the Straight Chic line that has bright purple hair or bright blue hair, and it's impossible to hide it. Now, some people do love Corinne's colored hair, and if you love Corinne's colored hair, that's just another pro for you, but for me, it's not my favorite thing, but I don't think it gets in the way of the doll too much. Another con for me is her meat outfit. Partially because of quality, her sweater is really cute, but it's quite thin in real life. You can see the leggings through it, but it's still a cute sweater. I also do not like her leggings. They are not my style at all, and normally what I look for in a meat outfit is how well can you mix and match with it, because for a lot of people, the doll and the meat outfit are their first outfits, and if you can mix and match it with different pieces, you can create more outfits. So Corinne's sweater is a nice basic. Her boots, I love them so much in real life because of the detail. Purple sparkly leggings aren't the easiest thing to mix and match with, and they really feel like a dance costume material, just not really an everyday wear type of material. So that's a con for me when it comes to Corinne if you're getting her and you want to have a set of clothing that you can actively mix and match with. So now I'm gonna dive a little bit more into depth about different types of collectors and like your intended use of the doll, why I think you should or should not get Corinne, if that makes any sense. So if you are collecting Corinne with the intent to use her for play, so maybe you're giving her to one of your kids, or maybe you are a kid watching this video and you plan to play with your dolls and things like that. As I mentioned earlier, Corinne is really easy to take care of, so if you're giving her to young kids, you shouldn't have to worry too much about your kids completely damaging Corinne's hair, or you if you are a kid. But like, kids should not technically be on YouTube. We're gonna keep that between us. And then kids also might love her colored hair. Once again, it's not something I'm a fan of as an adult collector, but I know a lot of kids do love colored hair, or at least I would assume so, given that American Girl keeps on making dolls with colored hair. So if you do love that, it definitely makes Corinne a very unique doll. If you are a full-on collector of American Girl dolls, where you must have every single Girl of the Year, every single historical, every doll ever made, if you collect Girl of the Years at all or face molds at all, obviously you should get Corinne because you want to complete your collection or add to your collection. Because it would be really awkward to have every Girl of the Year, Lindsay, all the way to Kira, and not have Corinne. Same with face molds. I'm not actively collecting face molds, but over the years I've accumulated every single face mold except for McKenna and number 4, as well as a few of the boy dolls who have the modified molds. So if I was actively collecting face molds, I would get Corinne, but if you're collecting Girl of the Years, definitely get Corinne. It should be a no-brainer. If you collect dolls in terms of uniqueness and how different they look from other dolls in your collection or that American Girl has made in general, which is what I do, overall I would say get Corinne because her face mold and hair and even her lashes that are painted on are quite unique compared to other American Girl dolls. Obviously her face mold and hair are because they are brand new wigs for American Girl, so she definitely will stand out in your collection no matter what dolls you have. The only reason I would say don't get her for this category is if you own a lot of Asian, specifically East Asian dolls in your collection collection already, so your collection is like 50% just molds, if you get Corinne, she might not stand out as much. However, she's still a unique face mold and a unique wig, so I think she would still stand out. And also, if you're just trying to save money and you think Corinne wouldn't be the most unique thing in your collection, like, save your money, don't cave, and buy American Girl dolls. But overall, Corinne is such a good girl of the year. One of the best in years, where I can't think of that many reasons not to get her. This video is a bad influence if you're trying to save your money. And then finally, if you are collecting Corinne with the intent to use her in stop motions or photography, anything where she has to really be on camera, so far from my experience, she's a very photogenic doll. Now, I have not taken a million photos of Corinne yet. My camera focused on her nicely, and I just really like how vivid her hair is when it comes to photos, because it really makes it pop. But also, if you do intend to use her in photos and you hate the colored hair, you can easily hide it behind her shoulders or even Photoshop it out. And I will just re-emphasize that her colored hair can be hidden from the front in photos without editing, but not from the back. And then also, specifically for social media, you should get her because of the Girl of the Year hype. Posts in January containing the Girl of the Year tend to do better. YouTube videos containing the Girl of the Year tend to do better. And definitely on social media, if you don't own the Girl of the Year in January, you feel like you're missing out on so much and you feel like you're really left out. And even though I should be saying resist the Girl of the Year hype, I did that last year with Kira, it is hard. So if you guys make it through the whole year without buying Corinne, give yourselves a pat on the back. But for now, to conclude this video, I would say that you should buy Corinne for sure. There aren't many reasons not to. Of course, if you're trying to save money or you don't have room for a doll, don't get the doll. But if you were like, do I get Corinne? Very much on the fence about it. Overall, I strongly recommend her. She's one of the best dolls American Girl has released in a while, in my opinion. So if you guys liked this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below, what type of collector would you consider yourself? As I said, I would consider myself someone who collects dolls for uniqueness, but also slightly for photography and YouTube because it's part of my collection. At this point, buying dolls is still a personal thing that I love to do, but I can also classify it as a business expense. But Corinne is super cute. She's become my study buddy for university, and yeah, I'm very glad I own her. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for more American Girl doll videos and more videos featuring Corinne. And of course, have an amazing day, and I will see you guys soon with a new video. Bye!